Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. Inside this small flat rate box, we have an iPhone XS Max. Now this is a fairly old iPhone. It is the oldest model currently supported by iOS 17. Today we're going to talk about if this is a good value, what a good price for these are, and whether or not you should use one of these in 2023 or 2024. Let's get it opened up and check this iPhone out. Okay, here is the first look at our iPhone. It appears to be in a case of some sort, a UAG case. Not a brand I'm very familiar with. This feels like a very rugged, sturdy phone case. But I think for this video, I'm going to take it out of the case so we can get a feel for how the device looks on its own. The case is actually pretty easy to get off, which is nice. Sometimes these big cases have some serious grip on the iPhone. And here is our XS Max. It is the white and silver color. It looks to be in really nice condition. On the back here, I'm not seeing any scratches. There are a few scratches, some signs of wear around the metal frame. On the front, it's a little dirty. Let me wipe that up. Okay, the front appears to be in perfect condition as well. This iPhone looks flawless on the front and back. Let's go ahead and power it on. And the battery does have a charge. We're met with the Apple logo. Looking down at the bottom, we've got our lightning port and our speaker and microphone, as well as the antenna lines for the connectivity on this device. On the back, we have dual 12 megapixel cameras and LED flash and microphone. This is a really nice device. It looks super clean. And here we go. We're at the setup screen. I'm going to go through setup and connect to power. And once we make it to the home screen, we'll pick back up. All right, here we are at the home screen. First things first, let's go into settings and see which version of iOS. So it looks like we've got 7.0.3 and we have a 64 gigabyte model. So I think we can go ahead and do a software update on this iPhone. So if we head into software update, we will see 17.2 is ready to be downloaded. We'll do that in a minute. I'm currently installing Minecraft as well as Geekbench 6, so we can run through some benchmarks and see how well this thing performs. But overall, animations feel really smooth on here. And this device, I just signed in with my Apple ID, so it's doing a bunch of stuff in the background, but it feels really responsive. You would never know that this is the oldest iPhone that currently supports iOS 17. We've got our 12 megapixel camera here with a 2x optical zoom. This looks great. For video, we can do 4K 60 FPS recording. But I think that, okay, there we go. Just like that. And it looks pretty good. So the cameras on this thing are really nice. And I gotta say, I am starting to miss the rounded edges on the iPhones. I currently have a 13 Pro Max, and of course it has these squared off edges. But the smoothness of this device feels amazing. It's so much easier to hold. And I think this iPhone's actually quite a bit thinner, or at least it feels that way, with the soft, smooth edges. The glass just kind of curves into the side of the device. And the back is so simple. Nowadays we have a huge, the entire upper quadrant here is just cameras. On this iPhone we do have a camera bump, but it's pretty small, not too obtrusive, and the back of the iPhone is very clean. And it's a very minimalist design. So this is actually the first iPhone to feature the Max moniker. So before this we had the iPhone 10, which was just in one size, and here we got the XS, and of course the XS Max was the first massive iPhone. This was the first iPhone to feature the 6.5-inch display, and it looks phenomenal. This was also the last iPhone to feature Force Touch. So this was the last iPhone to have that capability built into the display to detect pressure, which is very nice. The new iPhones have it built in via software, but it's not as quick or responsive as the iPhone XS was or any of them before that. Heading into settings, we can see our battery health is decently high at 87%. So I forget what year this iPhone came out. I'll put it right there. But I know it's at least 5 or 6 years old, maybe even more than that. And to get a battery percentage of 87% is pretty good. So the iPhone XS, in my opinion, is probably one of the most overlooked models because the iPhone X, which launched before it, was a revolutionary design change, and the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro that launched after it were pretty drastic changes as well. And the XS is kind of left as that middle ground that not many people chose to upgrade to. So you kind of either got the iPhone X or you waited and got the 11 Pro and the 11 Pro Max, which are really just refinements here of the XS. The 11 Pro does add that extra camera, but there's really not many changes other than that for the device. Now, once the iPhone cools down a little bit, I'm going to run Geekbench 6 and we can get some numbers for that. But let's talk about pricing for this iPhone. So I'm trying to remember how much I paid. I'll put it right here, but it wasn't a terribly high amount. I've seen lots of these iPhones, the iPhone XS and XS Max, go for around the same price. And you can get 256 gigabytes or you can go all the way up to 512. This was the first iPhone to feature that 512 gigabyte storage capacity. This iPhone also features the dual speakers. We have one speaker down here at the bottom and another speaker here in the earpiece. This iPhone features a second generation Face ID sensor, which is even faster than the first generation, which was on the iPhone X, which launched before this. Overall, I'm really impressed with this device. It feels amazing. It's really nice to hold. And performance-wise, I mean, I know I just got it, but it feels so smooth. I mean, everything is very snappy. And there is no stuttering at all in this device. All of the apps open instantly, and they perform pretty well. This was the first iPhone to feature 4 gigabytes of RAM, and you can tell that it still holds its own very nicely. So let me launch into Minecraft here, and then we're going to see how well this thing performs on a pretty demanding game. All right, here we are. Let me switch my controls so they are just how I normally use them. And we're going to turn the graphics up as high as we can. So we've got 13 chunks for render distance, and we're going to see how well this performs. And walking around here is pretty smooth. We're getting solid 60 frames per second. And I want to make sure I'm recording this. I apologize for that. I was recording in 30 frames per second there. So you'll get a better feel here for how smooth this is. Let me see if I can get up in the air. There we go. Can I sprint? I'm not sure about that. Here's a village. We'll go check that out. And we're going to try to push the limits here. There's a big stutter. So overall, not too bad. I mean, this is maxed out at 13 chunks. And this is a pretty old iPhone. And it's running really well. I mean, if you watched my 2020 MacBook Air review, this is running way better than that laptop is. So that says something. All right. I can't get over how good this screen looks. I don't know if it's going to come across on camera, but the viewing angles are phenomenal. The brightness is good. I mean, look at the brightness. We'll go ahead and crank that all the way up, and it's going to way overexpose on the camera. But the brightness is great. We have True Tone display in here, as well as night shift. Let's see, True Tone is there. which I like a lot. I have bold text turned on. I mean, this device is just, I don't know. The only things I can think of that you're missing out from, we'll compare this to my current phone, which is an iPhone 13 Pro Max. You're missing out on ProMotion, which if you've never used it, not a big deal. If you have, you're certainly going to feel a difference between 60 and 120 hertz, no doubt. You're also missing out on that ultra wide camera, as well as you only have the 2x optical zoom instead of the 3x on the new lens. And you're also missing out on night mode, so this thing cannot take pictures in the dark as well as the new iPhone. But what you do get is you do get 3D touch or force touch. I don't remember which one is which, but where it actually feels how hard you're pushing on the screen. You get that, you get the nice rounded edges, and you get this beautiful device. And you can go all the way up to 512 gigabytes, which is less than the current iPhones, but you can get that for like $400. All right, so I went ahead and ran Geekbench 6, and let's see if we can find our results. Here we go. So single core was 1,352, and multi-core was 2,772. So here is a little comparison of our device compared to the average for iPhone XS Max. So a little bit above average, which is nice to see, but significantly behind most of these devices. Similar story here for multi-core. And actually, so our multi-core score, 2,700, is about on par with the single core for the A14, and probably even slower than the single core for the iPhone 15 Pro with that new A17 chip. So what about compute for GPU? We'll go ahead and run that, and then we'll see a comparison. The only thing I would recommend is maybe getting one with more storage, because 64 gigabytes is going to fill up pretty quick, especially if you're recording in 4K video, and really especially if you're recording in 4K 60, which takes up a lot of space. We'll go ahead and switch to the camera here on the iPhone XS, and you can see there is the 13 Pro Max recording, and just kind of give you a run through there, some stuff on the desk. You can see how well the colors look there. Got a few different phones. Looks amazing. I don't know if this biker phone is going to sound any different on here, but overall I think this is a really good experience. So there you have it. That's been a review of the iPhone XS Max in 2023, early 2024. Beautiful device. If you can get one in good condition like this with good battery health, then I think it's a steal, especially if you can find one for under $300. I mean, that is an amazing device here. And you're getting almost all of the iOS 17 features. And everything is incredibly smooth. There's hardly any stuttering at all. This iPhone holds its own, even many years after its launch. All right, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope if you're going to get one of these that you find one for a good price, because you certainly can. I didn't spend too much time trying to find this. I looked for about half an hour and pulled the trigger on this one. So for me, it was a great deal. If you have any interesting facts about the iPhone XS, leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear some cool stuff about this specific model. All right, that's been it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.